Before we start the video, basically what I do here on this channel is that since YouTube removed the dislikes on people's videos, I decided to post them on my videos so you guys can actually know how many likes, dislikes I got on a video. It might not be like the real time of the dislikes because it'll be days later and it'll most likely be outdated, but it's what we have to work with since YouTube decided to do all this. Last video got 8 likes and 0 dislikes. Thank you guys, and let's start the video. Hello everyone, Poke again, talking about another anime because I have such great taste. Today I'm just gonna talk about an anime I literally got into recently that I didn't consider watching for a while. As you know, we're in the winter season of 2022 for anime, and there have been a lot of good hits and some big misses. However, one anime that I overlooked, and so have most of the anime community, is an anime called, excuse my pronunciation, Sabikui Bisco. Sabikui Bisco is a shonen anime adapted from a light novel. As of now, the anime has 8 episodes as of this recording, but I think that's plenty enough to convince you to watch it. Also, I'll go into minor spoilers, but I'll make sure to keep it at a minimum, as I do think it's better enjoyed than going off by my word, even though you should watch this video. Well, without further ado, let's start the video. Basically, a synopsis of it is that the whole setting is set in apocalyptic Japan, and people are dying from a disease that causes people to rust and die. There hasn't been a cure for it yet, but there are ways to calm it down, and that's when we are introduced to one of our main protagonists, Nekoyanagi Miro. He's a doctor in the series who is probably one of the best in this apocalyptic wasteland that helps people out. Although he does enjoy helping people, his main goal is to help his sister Powell, who is hot as fuck, I don't care, from said rust as it covers half of her body. As this is going on, a dude that's covered in clothing, who may or may not be the main protagonist, is trying to get into the other side of the desert when he is attacked to reveal himself. He is a wanted criminal who is said to be a cannibalist, kinda crazy honestly, and he is Sabikui Bisco. He is the main protagonist of the series and basically has the power to control mushrooms. Alright, that kinda sounds like a lame power, but like, hear me out, it does do some cool things. He meets up with Miro, as even though he isn't a bad guy, dude is basically a terrorist, just destroying buildings with his mushrooms, even though the mushrooms aren't exactly harmful. Oh, I forgot to mention that everyone believes that mushrooms actually cause rust, even though it's quite the opposite. They actually eat away rust, but due to that rumor, people don't believe him. Miro always thought that there was more to the mushrooms than that, and so he experimented with it. And that's when he is given an offer from Bisco to come with him to help save his mentor Joby, as he is also suffering from rust. And Milo agrees to it and goes along with Bisco. This would be a flawless, easy road trip if they weren't being hunted down by the governor of the city itself, Kurokawa, who doesn't want a cure for rust and hunts them down. They ride around on top of a crab and basically do some cool exploration shit. That description alone is pretty wild and out of this world, but it's much easier shown than actually explained. Honestly, the anime has a good plot and characters, as we get to see a whole different world than the modern age, and different kinds of people and how they handle rust. The anime goes into detail on what exactly rust is, but I don't want to spoil it. I feel as though any piece of fiction is good when the world explained over time with the protagonist, and that's what the series excels in. Bisco and Miro both have a great dynamic with each other, where when they first meet each other, it's not like they hate each other, more like they were normal with each other, but after the first episode, their friendship evolves to be a very fun and energetic one. But they do care for each other, especially seen in the latest episode. Paula is definitely one of my favorites because she is basically one of the strongest in the series, and the fight scenes with her and Bisco are hella good. Paula is definitely not a brute character who just attacks people for no reason, as she does have her reasons. Kurokawa is honestly a really good antagonist in this series, as he is literally by definition an antagonist. What I mean is that he literally opposes the protagonists and doesn't want them to succeed in finding a cure for rust. I don't want to go into reasons as to why, because spoilers, but it's honestly pretty maniacal and the definition of greed. And the things he does to ruin specifically Miro's life is just plain hater moment. For criticisms, I have very few for this series. I know, I mostly say positive things about the anime I discuss about, and that's because I have peak taste, but also, I'm not a very critical person. I'm more literal than critical, if I'm gonna be honest. So, if I were to give some criticism to Sabikui Bisco, it's that we should see more side characters. I like Bisco and Miro, but I feel as though the story focuses on them too much. I'm not saying there aren't any side characters. There's this girl who works for Kurokawa and she goes by Jellyfish. And she was a pretty good character, and that's why I say we need more side characters. It's because they're written well and that I want to see more of them instead of just occasional appearances. But I know for story purposes we gotta focus on the main duo. One last criticism I have is that although I said the mushrooms do get somewhat explained in the more recent episodes, there are still many questions as to what exactly they are and how people use them. Like when Bisco just spawns a mushroom, does he have control of where to place it or does he not? Sometimes it seems he does, but at other times he doesn't. Mushrooms could definitely be deadly as seen in the first episode with all the buildings crashing and all. So I just hope that gets explained, and we could even get like a further dive into like past, I forgot the name of it honestly, past mushroom benders, whatever they're called. But yeah, overall this is definitely an anime I highly recommend checking out, especially if you're a big fan of shonen anime. There honestly aren't that many shonen anime in this season. Like Demon Slayer already finished, and the only real shonen anime that's airing is Vanitas no Carte. But you first have to see the first part of it before watching, so that's why I say that this is basically one of the only shonen anime airing right now, besides One Piece of course. So yeah, if you guys watched all the way and enjoyed what you liked, I highly recommend liking this video, subscribing, and sharing it on whatever social media you use. Speaking of social media, follow mine that is seen on the screen. So yeah, there's not much I can say, so see you guys.